Sign up now at elevate.miami.edu for my course, Organized Rhyme.
Looking at the word legacy, while involving some wordplay, I'll use the first syllable to build upon. We'll use the first syllable, leg. For the second syllable, we'll use an. And for the third syllable, we'll use the word knee. So now we have leg and knee. Can we use it in context with legacy? Let's just see.
Wordsworth Productions with a S.com for all merch. I got 2 books available right now with Words of Worth Volume 1, and I also have a children's book called Socks. Age range from 12 to 15, so it's kind of like the middle school and high school age range, but adults can read it as well.
Ervin, crazy boy.
Look good.
What side shit?
You really in the studio chopping up too, man. I like that drop.
It's easy to me.
So,
9,
without
10
further
flow
ado,
places to go.
gonna
People
bring
to
to
see.
the stage
Big game, purity
Ervin
raw.
Ford.
I live by that motto. Down by law. Every bar is lightning in Nevada. What the?
That boy
Yo,
good.
what's
that
up?
boy good.
What's happening, man?
What's up, man? Pleasure to be here, man. Pleasure to be here.
Yo, I'm so excited to do this episode because I get to interview my friends and my friend right here and let them know how dope you are as a producer. And a lot of people don't know, like, you've done so many dope records for other people. But I remember you used to have this CD, and I think it said Canned Beats on it. You remember the CD you used to give out?
Yeah.
What was
It said
the whole idea behind that? Yeah,
Slice Beats. It was from
Slice
the
Beats.
the Slice Beats. It was like the can label that was on the can in the grocery store.
Right.
So I seen that and it just said bing bing just for some promo. I think that'll be kind of, intriguing. So that's where it came from.
Yeah, so this episode and the show is about writing. So I try to come at it from so many various aspects with people. So I wanted to have you on here because although you're a producer, you're a dope songwriter. You know, I get to hear songs that you've done. I've done songs with you. People see the music video we've done together. So I always respected the fact that you can make crazy beats, but also a great writer. So from like your upbringing is where I kind of want to start with it. So a military kid, right? And music, how did that affect your sound?
It was major because I don't think I was really dealing with music before I fell in love with hip hop. So it was just the Police to Otis Redding to James Cleveland. Like we was everywhere, hearing all type of vibrations, and that's how it started. So coming into hip hop, huh?
No, I was gonna say you're getting that music, but is it from like the radio, friends, family? Like, or were you on like a base at one point and like had to figure out how do you get music?
Yeah, absolutely right, man. Just traveling, being an Army brat, traveling from here to there, living overseas. It'll be that collective. Your mother driving with your mother, driving with your father. You at your friend's house, church. It'll be that big mixing pot of sonics just coming at you and touching your core and making you feel happy, sad, and all that stuff, So yeah, absolutely right.
I know it's like from hearing other people that have grown up in the military as a military kid and things like that, they say like, yo, I would get tapes mailed to me, or my cousin would send me this, or do you remember like getting your first, like, I guess, cassette that had like a radio or a freestyle on it, and
Yeah.
something that was hard to get?
I can't say I have, man. I
Okay.
always was just in passing with who my man may have had. My man, friends of mine may have had those shipped to him, but
Right.
I wasn't quite there yet, But however, I got some ill cousins in Alabama that was on a lot of stuff that NWA, BDP,
Right.
and it took me for a loop. Like, they way down deep in the South, but they had that magic though.
So what's it like for you to be overseas? You said you were overseas.
Yeah.
What's the accessibility to get in music? So what, you remember what age you were there overseas?
Oh, I was young, man. I was,
Okay.
I'll say second to fourth or fifth grade, I was over there.
Because now it's like we got an internet. So
yeah,
you get people from overseas, they get everything easily and stuff like that. So, is the struggle real for people to get music now? I don't think it is the same way. But I do know that there were people that dealt with, trying to figure out how these freestyles would travel around, and people got the notoriety of their name.
Yeah, I think VHS tapes and the cassettes, I think the mailing of those was definitely happening to the older crowd, but I was like a little bit under. But I was around that crowd, so I was hearing these things, but I ain't have no cousins to ship me nothing like that, man. I wish I did at the time.
And then who was like the first person like that kind of, I guess, influenced you or motivated you to start liking hip hop? Because if you're here in Europe, you're probably not getting the same thing here. Then you're over here in the States, somewhere here in this region, because hip hop and music is very regional. How did you kind of like say, I like this guy or this female rapping, I like this? What was that moment?
Yeah, I think for me, in Germany, I did have Beat Street and Breaking.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's kind of crazy.
I had that on VHS tapes. I used to make my own little mixtape VHS tapes with my joints on there, Breaking 1, Breaking 2. I did have that, but when I came, to answer your question, when I came back to the States to live, I would go to Alabama sometimes for the summer. And my cousin Fred and Bo, rest in peace, Bo, they had the sauce, man. And from what they were wearing to what they were playing, and they were playing NWA, BDP, MC Breed. They were like everywhere.
Right.
And Kool Moe Dee, LL, Kane, especially Kane. And I was hooked. I was already hooked to the culture of breaking and dancing on the cardboard and stuff. So when I came back to the States, it got locked in with my cousin Fred and Bo.
All right, so you start listening to music. You say, all right, cool. I could rap. I want to rap. But I knew you more for the beat. So I know you write rhymes. So as you started doing the music, were you like part of groups early on, and you were rapping before I knew you, or people got to know of you for making beats?
Yeah. Probably around 11, 12. I was rapping. We was rapping in high school. We had a group called Verbal Linguistics. And we was part of a big collective called the Ivy League. And we was just all spitters, man. Like AC Alone, that type of spitting, Sophia verse casual type stuff. We was like deep into it. And then we had some big brothers that were the character assassins, and they kind of helped groom us, and we all worked together. And that's where I started actually making beats and writing rhymes,
That's North Carolina?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
What part of North Carolina is that?
Fayetteville, aka Fayetteville, 26, Cold World, you know, all the above.
All right, so now you become a producer. Where's this confidence to writing lyrics as well, right? So
Yeah.
it seems that the confidence was kind of homegrown from writing, but when you're making beats as a producer, how do you feel? How do you know you're confident with writing bars?
It just flows, man. I always been a fan of the producers that was just as nice at rhyming as well. They had a nice fair balance. You know, I always was a good fan of those guys, and I can name a list of them. But yeah, it just comes in my head, and I'll start freestyling. I hear a melody, uh, and it'll generate an idea, and from there, I just let the pen, go where it goes, and if it's good, it's good. If good, bad, and different. That's how it happens.
So when you hear a beat, how long does it take you to start thinking of a line or start writing the song?
It can be fast. Sometimes it comes later, but it can be right away, instant. It can be anywhere, really, to answer your question.
Because a lot of times some people get the luxury to have time writing a rhyme,
Yeah.
and then being a producer and you make beats. Why I wanted to do this interview too was having those beats as a producer. What's the time frame you may give somebody to write to the beat that you like as well? You have that beat sitting there, and
Yeah.
you like, yo, this joint is fire. You might have came up with a couple of bars, but then maybe somebody like me, you might let me hear it, and I'll be like, yo, I want to write to it. So what's the time frame that you may give somebody to work or write to a beat? Or will you write to the beat anyway? I think there's a lot of producers out there that probably deal with this all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I just I look at my beats like my little sons, man, and we'll have that conversation. You ready to go out in the world, son? He like, yep, let's do it. I start emailing it. I'll start emailing it to different people, and yeah,
Right.
I'll write to it myself too. Long as the idea is flowing, we gotta catch that if it's fire. We can't like wait. Like I'm gonna wait till he's finished because it might hit you instant. It might not hit you instant.
Right.
So the game don't wait, man. We both should be jotting down bars or whatever. As soon as that joker goes out, we already know the mission. So I don't really put a time limit on certain things. Some things are a priority, but it can come at different moments.
And how do you gauge like to keep this beat for a particular project versus let me give this beat to this person here because they sound like they're gonna be dope on it. Even though you might feel you're gonna be dope on it, right? It's your
Yeah.
project. This is gonna make your project hot. This might be your single, but you're like, yo, let me sell this joint and send it to such because I know they're gonna kill it. I wonder. Here's my question about that: is it their project is coming out sooner than yours?
Well, it depends. If they really serious about it, then I'm gonna do a jam to it anyway.
Oh,
Just in
okay.
the comfort in my own spirit, If but doing business, um, yeah, that I guess whatever objective they got for that beat, whatever they gonna do, I'll follow his lead in doing business. But creatively, just in the comfort of my own home, every jam I done made, I done got a light freestyle on. I done got a got a song idea, just about everything I made. So some things could be business and it does what it's supposed to do, and then other things artists just may have it and they may not use it, or they may have did a song and it's just sitting there, and you know it ain't business.
Right.
it's fair game, you know. So
Do you have like a beat that you remember that you had that you was gonna keep for a project, but you gave it to somebody, and it's a fire song that we might know?
uh yeah, you're one of them. You're definitely one that I'd have gave some flame to, and I'm like, ooh, sometimes I should have, you know, not because the jam ain't hot,
Yeah.
but like, yeah, I do have some aces I be wanting to keep and tuck to myself for sure. For sure.
All right. So what's the main thing you're looking for when you're selling the beat to somebody, right? Is
Yeah.
it the money versus the artist as far as the integrity of the song being dope? Because I know there's people that be like, yo, they offer me this, but the opportunity is that. You how do you deal with that?
I try to find a fair balance, you know. Um, if it's like way heavy on the end of against what I would do morally and against my character, I probably would mess with it, you know. And
Right.
that goes on the money side too, you know. That saying is true, even though it's thrown around loosely that all money ain't good, you know, because you can put yourself in a situation where you're not happy. And I focus on just being happy, just as
Okay.
simple as that. You know, it's more context in being happy, but that's the overall goal is just to be happy, free, and left. You know,
And then when you're writing to these beats, right?
yeah,
What's the pressure like? You feel pressure right into your own beats? Because you know you gotta
yeah,
eventually let them out there,
yeah,
and you
yeah,
and you're gonna have people that you've produced for that may be like, I don't know why he rhyming on that, or you know you got friends you got to play it to.
yeah.
So what's that like to be a producer with that notoriety as a producer, but wanted to come out with the being the MC part?
Oh man, it's for me. It was a roller coaster because I knew I can do it, but then you know I did deal with confidence issues. You know what I'm saying? But that's because I wasn't around. I wasn't in the gym. You know, I knew I still had it, but I wasn't in the gym,
Right.
and I started getting around people that was in the gym, getting my form and my conditioning back, and that like people like yourself. You know that was pressure. You know, I'm like, yo, you crazy, man. You be
Thanks, man.
spazzing. So that was pressure on me because I'm like, man, I gotta be right there with them, man. Like Tatum and Brown. You know what I'm saying? Like we gotta be right there. And you know, other than that, I never really felt no pressure like that.
All right, so yeah, you kind of answered. I had another question about like, are you measuring your skills versus other writers when you're you know making songs? If you who's your favorite rapper that you would say that you're like, I want to make sure I kind of am inspired or motivated to have a standard like that. For me, it's always
Yeah,
been Cool G Rap.
cool.
So
Ooh,
so that's what I held myself to. Is there
yeah,
like, you know what I'm saying? Cool G Rap, I would say Nas too, but
yeah,
that's kind
yeah.
of the standard for me. Who's the people you listen to that you'll be like, if I'm gonna be making songs and writing and rapping, I want it to be like these guys, you know?
Yeah, I love Esco. G Rap is definitely a good one. I love the honesty and the freeness of Kanye,
Okay.
and I love the left fieldness of Dilla.
Nice.
You know, so but yeah, those because I'm a relaxed, chill guy. You know, and I think Nas embodies all of that and has a fair balance of spitting. So yeah, he's the guy. He's the GOAT for sure.
Right. So then when you're writing these songs, I've heard songs you sent me and they have different cadences. There's a nice balance to what you do when you're making songs for yourself. And then on those songs at the same time, you show some vulnerability. So what's the gauge of all right, I'm gonna be street on this, and then writing all these songs in different flows and styles that I've heard you have. And how do you decide, like, I'm gonna probably be street here on this one, on this one I'm gonna talk to this? Like, what's that decision to be vulnerable, like, as far as being an artist? Do you feel it's difficult?
No, not as long as I've been doing it. You just feel it. The beat will tell you what to do. The
Yeah.
melody will tell you what to do. The the bass plucks. There's certain things that speak to you, and you should be able to gain direction from that. So
So,
it's the music, yeah.
all right. So, for instance, right, I've heard you do songs and you have hooks when you kind of doing like a regular, maybe rap melody hook, and then you got songs when you kind of like singing a little, not out there like
Yeah.
loud, but like you doing it something melodic that's at a good tone. Where's that come from, as far as just like no fear, I'm gonna do it, and that comfortability to say it's hot?
Oh man, it if it feels good, it's coming out, man. I've always been a R&B head to the death, so if it feels right, it's coming like anything else, and I don't really I used to have that fear of the judgment, but now
Right.
I look at it different now, long as it's out and it's out, then that's the win.
So with saying that, I feel like sometimes, like, that fear, we may be missing some dope artists because the producers, they just making beats.
Hmm.
So do you think that's kind of possible, that because people that are just making beats, and they don't step behind the mic, we wouldn't get some of the best music that we have today?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's not for everybody, but for the ones that can do it well and have the capabilities, you got to put it out there. Why sit and hold it for yourself? I think we could be missing out on a lot, but like I said, it ain't for everybody. So I think the ones that do push through and understand what they got to do, those are the ones that we get.
Yeah, like, I think about, I had to put this post on the gram and on Facebook about like best soundtracks, but then it made me think about like Claudine, Curtis
Mhm.
Mayfield,
Ooh,
right? And then he's producing that and got Gladys Knight singing.
yeah,
So, you know, just making those judgment calls as a producer to know what to do and when to do it, I think has been very important in order for us to kind of, I guess people know how to paint their own picture. Do you
yeah,
think that's what it is?
yeah,
When you're sitting there with your beat, you know how to
yeah.
paint your own picture?
Pretty much. Bob Ross, you know what, he there with that afro, he just going, he flowing.
Right.
And yeah, yeah.
All right. So when you're writing, what are we doing nowadays? We with the paper, we on that computer, you on that phone, or you in the dome with the
All,
rhymes, man.
all the above, man. All the above.
Right.
I love the tech because the tech can it's the convenience with the tech, you
I
know.
agree.
But writing, it's no other feeling than sitting there writing and letting that pen glide too. So man, the older I get, man, I just try to catch that thing as soon as it comes, however way.
Yeah, I haven't written in my head, like, I've done it one time. We was in London. I did it for like 8 bars, but
Yeah,
I felt I was taking too long to write the rhyme doing
yeah,
it that way because it takes a lot of repetition.
yes, it
Um,
does.
right. But sometimes I'll go in the booth and, of course, off the top, lay that melody down.
Yeah,
But I do hear from a lot of people that's still doing pen to paper. And
yeah, yeah,
there's
yeah,
like you said, there's a connection with writing to the paper and the pad. So when you're writing on a paper to pad, I mean pen to pad, what's that revision process like? Because computers is easier, delete and all that.
yeah. Well, to me, it's the same thing. You write a first bar down, and as you freestyling, creating, getting warm, letting that blood flow. If you don't like that part of the bar, erase it, add. It's like the same thing as you would backtrack on your phone, you know,
Right.
or just scratch it out. You know, I got millions of notebooks with scratched out lines and a line on top of it because wasn't enough room.
Yeah, I know. Like, I got a friend, she'll write a rhyme and then she has to rewrite the entire thing over. But I remember doing that too. I always felt like I wanted to make sure the paper wasn't too crazy because then I couldn't even read my own handwriting doing it.
Ooh, that's a great point. That's a great point. You got to proofread it, I guess.
Yeah. So I
You
used
know?
to be doing that too much. And I was like, I'm gonna transition to this phone stuff. And then eventually, you know, you're in that booth like this, you know, because the laptop is just now I'm set up to sit here, laptop it out. You know what I'm saying? I pull the mic over, I laptop it out. The first person I saw do that actually was Joe Pesci.
Mm.
He was in the studio recording a song and he was sitting down. I was like, yo, I can't believe they got the mic next to the engineer out here sitting out here and he recording.
Yeah.
And then this track master was producing that, and then I saw Nas doing that.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know you could record in the same room like that, really, you know, in the major studio. Of course, at home, a lot of people had that set up. Yeah, so I, you know, using the phone like that, then the computer. So talking about computers, now me and you talk about this, and we discuss it. Like, so what's the idea of how you feel about AI? You know, using AI in the game, man. What's your perspective on AI beats, using AI to make songs, all of that?
I love it, man. I love it. I've been saying this since it got here. You know, I feel like we've been dealing with it already. We've been pre-prepped for it already. We've been using it. We're just not really thinking about it like that. So I love it, man. I feel like it gives me more convenience to be open and free and do more stuff. It's amazing. You know, I love it.
I see that there's a thing now that you can have a person like me and you make a song, and then we submit it to this company who has signed deals with bigger artists, and we're doing songs using that bigger artist voice, and they could sign off on it. So do you think that's gonna eventually like hurt artists like me and you, that we're just trying to do original stuff and then try to, you know, put it out there? And or do you think that's a benefit that you could just kind of like do reference tracks now?
Yeah, I think this journey is gonna be the yin and the yang. It's gonna be tons of good stuff coming from it, and then
Yeah.
it's gonna be the evil within, where people gonna be stealing and doing this and trying to do this. And as this continues to grow legs, you're just gonna have to find better ways on making sure that our rights are not, you know, getting violated in the process. But
Right.
I think it's gonna be a seesaw.
Yeah, I think also it's gonna be a case by case basis, right?
Yeah.
I think like me and you can talk about it and be like, yo, we love it, until it's something that happened and be like, yo, they used the AI and took my snare. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like it's gonna be so many issues that come from it and derive from it. I think a lot of people are gonna love AI when it's working for them.
Yeah.
And then when it's an issue, then it's when they're gonna be like, yo, I can't mess with this
I
AI.
can't mess with AI. You're
They
right,
don't want,
because
you
it
know.
might be too complicated, you know, because so far on the outside looking in, it is. It can get real wicked in the wrong hands, you know.
Right.
It's gonna be interesting. I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna end up, but it's gonna be very interesting.
Yeah, I think the paperwork is gonna have to get. It's gonna have to be real detailed now, because I think it's gotten to a point where also that's what the whole like SAG after with writers and all that. They were even getting to a point. They said like, won't even hire an actor, just pay for the likeness face and paste it on to people and stuff like that. So you know they were gonna have all these scripts being written by the computers and AI and stuff like that. So I feel like this is a great time to transition and doing stuff like this, because AI, you know, people might start putting albums out and songs and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, and
Yeah, it's just the people who gets their hands on it, because it's only going to do what we instruct it to do.
Right.
So yes, it's going to be an interesting journey, man, because it's a lot of resources it can pick from over the years of just different artists, R&B, country, soul,
Yep.
So yeah, yeah. I'm sit back and see, man.
I mean, AI is one of those things that it's gonna be people benefiting from it. It's gonna be people arguing about it, and the paperwork is gonna get changed because it's early now and it's causing problems. So we're gonna see what it's like. So
Yeah.
going back to being a producer and a songwriter, when you're in the studio as a producer, what's it like giving input in the studio? Do you feel like it's receptive? Like artists are like, they'll listen to you, or they like, yo, just make the beat. You just made the beat. Let me do my thing. What's that vibe like?
Yeah, I've dealt more with the good reception versus the let me just do my thing. I dealt with the other side more, and I'm open to it. I just put out there what I think. I created it, what direction I may have had, and they'll collab and take it to another level, or enlighten me on something I wasn't even looking at. Whatever
Yeah.
possibilities that we can work out to get, that's the goal, to make this song a supernova.
Yeah,
So
because I feel like you gotta be open-minded to everybody in the studio.
yeah,
I think younger me was on a vibe of like, I'm coming here to write this rhyme to this. You made the beat. Let me just do me, because it felt like we were separated. But then as I got older and just started being around more people, I started learning like that song making is a collaborative process in the studio. You trying to make the best product at the end of the day. So I'm glad it's like people are becoming more open to respecting each other in the studio. There's not really like shutting down. That's what I love about seeing the process now with producers in the studio. So then,
I was gonna say, when you was younger and you was like, let me just do my thing, how were you receiving the beats?
Oh,
like were they given to you and you sat with them, you wrote the jam, then you came in there later? Because that's different. That can have you in a different, like, you was a killer, man. So you would come in there, and on the outside looking in, I didn't know if you were, if your verse was like in rhythm with the song. It was in rhythm with the song, but some groups or collab projects may have a goal or objective.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead. What you saying?
Yeah, if he didn't tell you anything and he just threw that raw steak in there, you gonna do what you gonna do.
Yeah, I think you got to be open-minded to both, though. I learned that, I think, now, because like I can come into a studio, have a verse written, and then somebody got a better idea. I'm like, yeah, that's fire. I could just say, yo, that's fire. I'm gonna save this verse for something else and rewrite. I think that's my mindset now, right? Younger is kind of like, I already wrote this, studio time, I got this to do the rest of the day. So I think that's just a maturity process you have to go through. But I write everything to the beat now. So whatever I kind of feel is that, but I don't get married to an idea.
Yeah.
I think that's important to come into the studio not married to an idea. And kind of leave it open. So when I come in the studio, this is what I got. But if you got something hotter, I'm just rocking what you got hotter. So, so when you're making the beats and you go at home, what are you using in the studio?
Sometimes I hear a completely different beat on the monitors. Reasons. I just jump on propeller head Reason, and I'm using Reason 10. I ain't been jumping on updates as of yet, but yeah, I'll jump on that and I'll just start listening to stuff, man. Old 45s I may have converted to MP3s. You know, I dig real heavy. I be online, offline, using my phone, recording water drips. Like I just be in a whole different space, and I'll just start from there and just start layering and putting stuff together.
What about drum machine?
Reason, I just use a MPC MIDI.
And a controller.
I just use that MIDI. Yeah, I just use the MIDI keyboard, and I get busy. I got some other ones, but my kids done hit me over the head for those. Now they making beats and stuff. So, but yeah, just that Reasons, that MIDI controller, some headphones, and that's it.
And then what's the time frame on making a beat? How long does it take you to make a beat?
Some days I'll have no restrictions, but then it'll be like in a 2-hour block.
Yeah,
it's something that we do. I got that from J. Cole, 7-minute drill, and you'll just work on something for 7 minutes, and at the end of that 7 minutes, if it ain't clicking or sounding like it's gonna go to the league somewhere, or sounding like you want to beat somebody, then you go on to the next beat. If it's not on that level.
That's a drill that they do in the studio? Like producers there, you get 7 minutes, and then
now I know Cole, his writing process was at times they'll do 7-minute drills with songs, you know, writing and spending time with it for about 7 minutes. And then, you know, if it doesn't resonate or if it's nothing big from that, or it could be something big, but they'll just put it to the side. Because, you know, in that 7 minutes, you might can get the whole thing or get the whole skeleton.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I kind of took on that idea because I know I can fixate on things and be stuck in a quantum realm, you know, adding this, adding that, and you know, so yeah, that helps a lot. So I took that on and started doing that too.
What breaks you out of that being fixated, to get out of being stuck on a beat or stuck on a rhyme? What breaks you out of being stuck on a beat or stuck on a rhyme?
Probably making something else, you know, making something else that may be harder on that level or just completely different, where, you know, I would have to take my focus off of it, you know. So it's hard. It's hard sometimes, man. Sometimes some beats require that patience and time, you know.
Right.
But, you know, others I've learned over time to like pull myself out of that rabbit hole or just pause it, save it as is, and come back to it with fresh ears and mind, you know. So I try now not to spend too much time on something.
All right, so here we go. I do this thing with the top 5 at the end. You know how I go with these. I like to try to come with some things. So I'm gonna go with one that we both kind of go with though, but like top 5 producers that rap or sing. You want to set it off?
Yeah,
it don't gotta be,
yeah.
No order as we know. You know, there's no order as we know. It's just saying what you, just saying 5. I know it's always more, y'all. We do these top 5 lists. Everybody do top 5. We know there's more that you can always put in there, but just give me 5 basically for it, you know?
Oh man. I'm gonna say this, man. A lot of people didn't know KRS was making beats. You know, I think his rhymes superseded the beat to his production, but early on, him and Large Professor were the guys. Wow. DJ Premier didn't rap, so I can't include him, but I'll say KRS, Large Pro.
Whoa, I forgot about LP for a second.
Yeah, Kanye, Diamond D, RZA. I said Dilla already, right?
I don't think you said Dilla. You said Dilla earlier though in the interview, but
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, definitely Dilla. Yeah, I said Diamond Pete. You throw Pete
Pete.
in there.
Yep.
Yeah, you can throw Pete in there. Throw Daz in there.
Wow, I didn't think about that.
JD. Yeah, Jermaine Dupri. Um, man, the list. It's some people I ain't thinking about right now, and they nice.
Yeah, I was thinking about it
E
when I posed
Swift.
the
I'm sorry,
question.
my bad. E Swift.
Oh yeah. Um, when I posed the question and I was thinking about it, I was like, of course, the list is gonna be ridiculous. But I thought about it and I was like, I had I had Jay Dilla on there. Of course, he's on
Yeah.
there because that flavor he brought with this, not only the sound, but the flow and making the actual music and the sound of Some Village. But you know,
Mm-hmm.
Eric Sermon.
Oh, that's a great one. Him and Parrish. Yes.
Eric Sermon, right?
Yes. But Sherman Moore, producer. Yeah, you got it.
Eric Sermon. Because Eric Sermon, I knew him for just rapping really, and then he got, you know, Def Squad and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Then we got on the list, I had Timberland. I like
Oh, okay.
Timberland because so I'm not out, you know, we're not making these lists like looking for like it ain't nothing with lyricals and all that. It's more so like being able to say I make these beats and then I got some bars and I can make some dope
Yeah.
joints.
Yeah.
Dilla,
Yeah.
Eric, Timberland. I also had on my list, if I'm right, I had I believe I had not Com, I had Pete Rock, and then I also had I had Diamond as well, Diamond D as well. Because I always felt like those were kind of the surprise producers that rapped. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know a Diamond D. Diamond D came out when I was like high school. I didn't know Diamond D was a producer that rap. When he came out, I didn't even know he was the producer of a lot of the, you know, sound back then of artists. So it was just like more of a surprise for me. But there's so many
Yeah.
people, but I try to make sure that when we're doing these lists, that we don't kind of fall into the typical. I like kind of going to the unknowns. So that's why
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
liked hearing you mention more people, and I like when we kind of go past the five, of course, because there's so many people, man, that dope producers. Like I said, Curtis Mayfield is ill like that. Lionel Richie, you know, if you want to get into, we go into other realms with it. They're just so ill,
Very white.
right? We go into other realms. Wyclef.
Mm.
So there's a whole bunch of dope people like that, man. But yo, man, I want to thank you for coming on the show. I wanted to let people know, man, how dope you are as a producer, songwriter, and get that exposure that I definitely think you deserve. I want to thank you for producing some crazy records for me. And always me and you kicking it and just building on making dope songs. We got a whole bunch of songs together that eventually people will hear. And I just, you know, want to salute you for all the dopeness you bring and contribute to the game, man. And I think the game isn't just about the people we always see. There's millions of us contributing to the game that people are listening to the music and being inspired by. So I wanted to make sure that I can bring you on here so people that are nodding their heads know who they're nodding their head to. You know?
Oh man, it's you know me and you. It's love, big bro, man. I love you to death, man. I appreciate
Yes, sir.
your guidance and advice, and we're gonna continue to make more jams. Like you said, we're gonna put some real nasty work out soon. And it's a pleasure to be here, man. Anytime you need me, I'm here. You know.
Yeah, tell them about the projects that you got out. Like you got your own records out so people can find you, you know, your handles, all that stuff like that. Something what's a song that they should go
Yeah.
check out right now that's yours? Like, yo, go check this out. I have this out.
It's a record called "My Bad" by my girl Sinyaka that we dropped a little in March. It's still ripping and running. People love the record. So go to my IG at Ford. That's number 4 ORD.910 and hit my link tree, and it'll take you everywhere you need to go. I got 3 instrumental albums out on all DSPs. Pull Up Shooters Volume 1, Super Duty Tough Work, and Don't Be Surprised When the Bill Comes. My brother's on there too, with a lot of other people on there showing support. And more instrumental albums are coming. Working with a lot of different artists in the game right now, and those projects are coming. And yeah, man, it's full court press. Full court press right now.
Yeah, so make sure y'all contact him if you want your music and your beats and everything to sound right. I want to shout out Ervin Ford once again for being a guest. Everybody out there for taking some time to watch. I know your time is valuable. So before we leave, I always like to ask you, what are your words worth? Peace.
Shout out to our sponsor, the Wizker. If you're into skincare, the Wizker will help prevent razor bumps and make sure you got smooth skin all around. Make sure you order it on Amazon, the Wizker.